Out come the Patriots with their new quarterback for 2020, a former MVP, Cam Newton. Super Bowl title for the New England Patriots. And their remarkable season ends in the most remarkable of ways. They get to put next to their names the Super Bowl.
What a year it has been surrounding Madden franchise mode. With multiple top trending hashtags, press releases, and even a controversial rogue stream by EA's community manager, it's quite unfortunate that we've spent more time over the last year discussing the things surrounding franchise mode than the things actually in franchise mode. And, well, that does tend to happen when a massive AAA game developer such as EA goes an entire development cycle without adding a single new feature to an already shallow and broken franchise mode, the only simulation game mode inside the exclusive Simulation NFL game. There are some really sad truths that have set people over the edge with this game and led us to, as a community, saying one simple word: enough. The fact is that franchise mode was deeper and more immersive to the NFL 15 years and 4 console generations ago than it is today. We are exhausted by the lack of development for franchise mode while witnessing the continued development and overemphasis on the pay-to-win Madden Ultimate Team game mode, while EA simultaneously manages to hold on to the exclusive NFL license, giving them no actual incentive to improve the game. NFL fans are literally being funneled through Ultimate Team in an effort to get its customers to buy virtual trading cards that lose their value almost immediately. In sum, EA has managed to get their hands on one of the most foolproof cash cow setups in any industry around the globe, and it is endorsed by one of the most well-known brands in the world, the NFL, and EA's customers are sick of it. The problems with Madden are well documented. In fact, in last year's wish list, I spent much more time begging EA to just give half a damn about franchise mode as I did listing the actual features we want to see, and it's a little bit the same right now. And it got even worse than I possibly imagined it could have after one of the most embarrassing video game launches I can ever remember. But man, I gotta say, I am so proud of this community. There is so much passion for the NFL and this game, and at the very least, we've learned that no community can get a hashtag or topic trending nationwide like the Madden community. And as hard as it is to believe, I do believe we have forced the hand of EA at least a little bit. Movements are a powerful thing, and now 3 times in as many months, EA, Madden fans, random bystanders, and most importantly, the NFL themselves have been put on high alert to what EA has been putting us through. Even NFL players and top gaming sites like IGN have finally started speaking up about it. And as hard as it is to believe, this is starting to make the difference that we as a Madden community have been trying to create for 5+ years. And while my plea that EA at large starts to actually take pride in its product, invest in the creative passion of the developers working on the game, and actually give a damn about franchise mode for the first time in almost 2 decades remains my number one wish for Madden 22, I do think we are at a place now where we can talk about these features that we as a community want to see with at least some optimism relative to previous years that EA has no choice but to actually listen to and value what its customers want in their game moving forward. And they've even shown some steps as far as their actions that Madden 22 and beyond will finally get some franchise love. So I wanted to open with that and use this video as a way both to inform the public about what is going on with EA Sports Madden and to reassert our frustrations as a community towards EA. But now that that is out of the way, let's get into the good stuff. My Madden 22 franchise mode wish list. I do need to establish that this is not just my list. I've spent hours and hours discussing with folks on Twitter, Discord servers, YouTube comments, you name it, to come up with a list consistent with the top demands of Franchise Nation that also provides a manageable framework for EA as far as being realistic for what a AAA game developer should be able to add to the game in a 1-year development cycle. So, we will provide EA with 2 box features, a pair of major projects that I understand will take the majority of the work for the things requested in this video. These are selling points, major upgrades to the game that provide new depth and experience. So, like I said, I do think it's important we stay realistic with what we can ask for here. But I will provide some of the most pressing minor features to this game mode as well that we should realistically be able to also expect before next August. So let's start with the major projects, the box features, if you will. And the first thing here is almost a copy and paste system from another EA Sports football game in NCAA Football 14. And that is a new coaching system with assistant coaches, coaching skill trees, and a coaching carousel. This to me is the biggest thing lacking from franchise mode, and it also happens to be the easiest, most no-brainer of a way for EA to dramatically increase the level of immersion, depth, and replayability of franchise mode. So what am I talking about? First off, simply start by adding coordinators to the game. Yeah, there's some legal issues by using the real names, but simply put generic ones in and give us the ability to edit them around the league. Done. Then you implement a deep foundation of skill trees. I would want even deeper than NCAA 14 had it. Everything from a head coach's ability to develop specific position groups to an offensive coordinator's ability to get better blocking on certain run designs. You can even go a step further and add scouts, general managers, and trainers with skill trees themselves. I say this is the biggest no-brainer feature because it complements so many of the lacking aspects of franchise mode. Not only do you get the immersion of bringing up a young coordinator, only to see him get hired by a division rival and have to take him on twice a year while he uses the very strengths you developed against you, but it also adds the depth of game planning and team building. This has tremendous potential, specifically with the scenario engine. If you're taking on, say, Kyle Shanahan, well, now you know going into the game that his quarterback's going to have improved accuracy over the middle of the field and medium accuracy, that his blockers are going to be better blocking outside zone plays. Bill Belichick's teams will be better tacklers. Anthony Lynn's teams will automatically miss field goals. For years, people have complained that every opponent in franchise feels the same. Well, honestly, I can't think of a better way and an easier way to add that depth and immersion to franchise mode. And that's not even getting into the potential this has towards team building, understanding the importance of scheme fits, and beyond that, just adding depth and replayability to franchise mode so that each playthrough doesn't feel so dry and repetitive. Honestly, man, if we don't get this feature, I'm gonna be pretty damn bummed because it really is that big of a no-brainer. And there are systems already in this game and previous EA games that give EA no excuse not to add this feature that is one of the top requests of the community. In fact, this should be so simple to implement that we should also be able to fairly expect the addition of another box feature next to this one. And that second box feature that I will add to my wish list is a scouting overhaul. This, along with my previous request, are far and away the 2 most frequently requested features I encounter when talking to people in the community. And this one is very self-explanatory. The entire scouting system is outdated, shallow, and just freaking lame. Like, you press 3 buttons and that's all you'll ever learn about a player until they reveal a player's combine scores. We need depth, storylines, a more challenging way towards finding that hidden gem who fits your scheme. Many people have drawn up some great ideas for this, done a much better job than I could relay. But the best I can honestly do is defer you to what this should look like to Deuce Douglas. Deuce has made some great mock-ups. I'm showing some of them right here for concepts on this, and anything close to his ideas would be great. I'll drop a link to one of his videos down below if you want to know more about what this could look like. But yeah, man, a full scouting overhaul is the second box feature on this list that we need for Madden 22. Now, these two features will take the overwhelming majority of EA's development resources, so it's important we understand the expectations here and what should be possible for EA to deliver. But there are some smaller things here that any AAA game company should be able to add on top of the box features in the development timeframe here. And if they can't, perhaps we should be adding new game engineers to our Madden 22 wish list. But these next items are either the most critical core issues with the game that need fixing, or small features that should not take long to implement. And bar none, the most frustrating aspect of franchise mode as it sits here today is the outdated positional terminology. Any football fan with half a wit understands we no longer talk in terms of defensive tackle, defensive end, and outside linebacker when grouping front seven positions together. Inside a depth chart, when you know the scheme of reference, yeah, sure, absolutely. But when, say, ranking players by position, listing contract asking prices, asking a computer team to sign a player to actually play the correct position, etc., 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 Madden's positional terminology is absurdly outdated and consistently makes franchise mode unplayable because of the things you'll see. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've had to suffer through Jerome Baker and Leighton Vander Esch playing edge outside linebacker leading the leagues in sacks. How many times I've seen Khalil Mack compete with Bobby Wagner for the best linebacker. And how many times a team has signed a 320-pound interior defensive lineman to play edge defensive end in a 4-3 scheme. This is mind-numbing. No, it's insulting to us as football fans that this is the only option for simulation football gaming, and it needs to be fixed yesterday. And here is all you have to do, EA. Leave the depth chart screen exactly as it is. Now go to the roster management menu and change the wordings of defensive tackle, defensive end, outside linebacker, and middle linebacker to IDL, interior defensive lineman, edge, and LB, linebacker. Write some code so that teams understand where these positions should play in accordance to the team's scheme. Fix the awards menu in the Pro Bowl, and boom, your game is updated to the NFL as of 2005. Me. Oh my God, I'm just tearing my hair out. It's so excruciating that this is not updated yet. Now, that taken care of, and only after that is taken care of, here are some of the other small things that would dramatically improve the mode that should be possible to implement by next August. First off, as a complement to the new coaching carousel that we already added, implement a coach management menu. From here, give us the ability to see and edit head coach and assistant coaches and see what schemes each team runs. Pretty easy there. Next up, something that has been requested for far too long, and that is the ability to use custom playbooks with formation subs. Beyond that, the live playbooks feature as well. Again, very, very self-explanatory. Formation subs are a great feature for immersion, strategy, and depth, yet this feature has had far too many bugs and limited capacities for too long. It's time we get this simple feature up to date as of what NCAA 14 had with working formation subs that you can use with custom playbooks. My final request is maybe asking for too much, but it is something that should be very possible now with the addition of next-gen stats in franchise mode. And that is the implementation of pressure numbers for offensive line and defensive line. We know the game can recognize pressures already because of superstar abilities and the new response icons that we see when a QB is under pressure. So, with the next-gen stats, this is a number that should be recorded to better understand how consistent a pass rusher is, and more important, a better way to evaluate how an offensive lineman is producing. Right now, there is no way for an O-lineman to go up in development trait, and no way to track it for progression. Well, between this and the sacks allowed stat, that's a little faulty right now, we should be able to better track the performance of the O-line position in a way that Madden has really never been able to do, and would greatly improve player progression, dev trait progression, and the scenario engine. So maybe that's asking too much, but for me, when it comes to this next-gen stats feature that I'm sure EA will want to develop, this is all about integrating it into franchise mode. And this is where I'd like the Madden team to start. So that's really all the features I'm requesting here. There is, of course, some obvious tuning and continued expansion of some stuff that I'll address real quick. First of all is the generated draft classes still have some major problems. And if we do get a new scouting system, well, with the current auto-generated draft classes, it would be a pretty major buzzkill. Still, far too often, players are older than they should be. Far too many players have a normal development trait, especially inside the top 20 of the draft. Too many players have outlier measurables. You'll see a handful of 6'3", 6'4" safeties in each class, 5'11", 245-pound linebackers, stuff like that. Too many guys from random tiny schools. You'll see 5'9" slot corners going first overall. It really is a big mess. So, Swami, I'm calling you out personally on this one because we got some work to do here. Again, if we get a scouting overhaul and these issues still exist, it's just going to be a massive buzzkill on the whole thing. Then you've got some tuning and need for regression, which is, slowly improved over the years, but it's just still not where it could be. Development trait progression, development trait regression, that kind of stuff. That stuff is constantly in flex and constantly being improved, but there's still a lot of work to go. And then you got draft logic is a major need. When does a team move on from a quarterback and draft one early? Can we start getting draft day trades between the computer? That's a biggie, and I hope that can be improved on and developed soon. And then the scenario engine. What happened to that, EA? They didn't even touch it for Madden 21 until months after launch. So keep improving the scenario engine in fun ways that add depth and immersion and storytelling. And that's all stuff that they are constantly trying to improve on, and us franchise players should absolutely continue to hold them accountable for working and improving on this stuff. But that's it. There's nothing that should be over the top here. It's nothing that we as Madden customers shouldn't be able to expect from EA if they really are going to show us a recommitment to franchise mode. Even if we get all the stuff on this list, franchise mode is still not as deep and as polished as it was 15 years ago, but this would be a damn good start to show us that EA is, in fact, trying. So I believe this is a realistic blueprint, consistent with the demands of the franchise community that EA can strive to achieve and for the first time begin collecting praise from people like me and IGN who are sick of the corporate bullshit and just want a franchise mode worthy of the exclusive NFL license that looks and feels like it was developed by a billion-dollar company. So I'm excited to hear from you guys. What do you think in the comments down below? I'm excited for EA to see this and ultimately excited to see what Madden 22 is going to look like. The bar is about as low as it can go, but we'll see, I guess. So please hit that like button, share the video, make sure you subscribe for lots of great NFL and Madden content, and until next time, cheers.